Do you want to watch me eat some pizza? Because it's a pizza party. You get it? Pizza party? Huh? Yeah. I got that same kind I had last time. Yeah, I'm the kind of guy like, when I really like something, I usually go like a couple times. Like I'm like, my favorite Subway Delight. Yeah, I'm like, if I have it, I'm like, oh, I want that again the next day. And like, you know, like in the past, like remember I get used to a burrito. Remember that? What was that place? I told you. Do you remember? Oh, that place called Chipotle. Oh yeah. So you probably ate there every day, cause you're in the economics, right? Yeah. You took one of them. Yeah. What'd you get? What? So what did you get out of economics? That this burrito here cost me about $5. Remember? And it lasts me 3 days. That's all I needed to know about economics. hmm And so I did that for about 7 years every day. I thought this tastes pretty good. It got vegetables and meat and the carbo. It's pretty well balanced. It's affordable. There's your economics. hmm Yeah, I like that. Don't let me forget. Okay? Don't let me forget that. Now, see, you say, well, you're talking about all that family stuff. Do you still eat meals with? Well, no, just for the record, we do not shop together, and we do not eat food together, and we do not cook food together. But this is a Paw T, so we're like every once in a while we figure we can make an exception, and so we're like, all right, he brought this pizza, uh, but he bought it. I mean, I don't know if I need to pay taxes on that, or do I need to report that as like income? Does that go on the balance sheet, or nah? That's that's an expense. I'm gonna expense that as what do they call that? The expense. So that's the kind of thing that they pay for you when you go on the trip. Your meal allowance. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So, uh, hey, so, but like I said, I mean, if I was in New York, I'd go to that one last place they got that, you know. But this is pretty good. And I'm probably gonna be pretty tired after this. I, I took my shirt off. But oh, you say so? You like to eat meals? Well, and he's kind of not legally. I mean, my mother has not been married to him for like 20 years, but we kind of stayed in touch and maybe lived together a little bit as roommates and stuff. And then you pay the bills together and split it, right? Like all that. Yeah, that type of thing is, and You say, well, you probably you say you like to sit down with a meal with people. Yeah, he's not not that gay. Remember, I told you he's got the starring role in Grumpy Old Men 3 up there in Fargo. No audition required. Yep, that's your guy. Mhm. I'm his agent, so give me a call. Just trust me. Amarillo Slim, he like to say, hey, I'm a professional. I've been doing this a while. Trust me. I said, hey, trust me. I got your guy. Don't worry about it. We don't need to waste any time. No audition required. Ah, yeah, that's good. That's good enough. Oh, that looks pretty good. Golden brown. Yeah. You say so would you do a feelings check for us, Nick? How are you feeling right now? You've been doing a lot of talking. We just want to kind of know where your head's at. And so you say, well, I feel okay. I'm a little exhausted. It is 5:16. I was up a little late last night. Got up, what did I say? About 6 hours of sleep. Felt pretty good. Um, wasn't really looking forward to mentioning Dr. Eichten, but I felt like, hey, we're just gonna make sure they know that, hey, you know, if I need to keep talking, I will. If not, then we'll do accounting. Yeah. So, um, because like I said, and you remember, you know already. If you've watched any of my videos, remember, drunk, naked, crazy, angry, all that. You make it, you make it as tough as you can for the devil, and you remain right there, nice cruising altitude, and you ask God to direct your life, and you keep your nose in here a little bit. That's here Bible. You eat this really, really tasty stuff called pizza at a Paw T. What's a party? What's a Paw T? Hmm, I don't know. So you say, well, wouldn't that help? Wouldn't that help to go and like you think you keep advocating, Nick, for the inclusiveness of enjoying that like Jesus Last Supper type thing. But yeah, that wasn't with old grumpy man. That was with the disciples, and you remember, I like to learn from experience, and sometimes, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That guy likes to eat alone. Aunt Lori likes to eat alone. That offended me a lot too. So I'm like, oh, my Auntie Lori. She's like, I love you too, but I've been doing this for about 50 years. I just like to sit and read my book in the quiet. I don't want to sit I'm half the kingdom. I don't want to sit with nobody. Just my husband, my kid. This is my kind of like that owner of the Minnesota. Like, you remember that? You're like, yeah. You're like, yeah, shit. And so some people, I guess, now, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about the family unit, yeah, there would be more resistance. But yeah, sure, I would like to be able to enjoy that. But see, that I've learned that guy upstairs there, remember that Milda, his mom, remember that lady, remember Lois? Yep. And so, he's earned, remember how he hasn't done one of these in about 50 years? Yeah. So, you try to respect. You remember how you don't have that issue with boundaries? Like somebody might accuse you of like Tiny Timmy and that iPad up there that he won't reset. Yep. And you're like, okay. Oh, so you like the guy wants to just sit there with the remote by himself watching. Doesn't matter. It's pointless to me. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not learning something, getting smarter, I kind of waited. I'm kind of a little late to the party like usual. No, they never really invited me much. But that's okay. I never really wanted to go. I went to a few. You know what I mean? Like the guy won't you figure out, hey, you're probably just gonna get grumpy. And you're already the starring and grumpy old man, and you're like, go cut the pizza before it. No, see, that's the thing. You gotta wait. You wait a few minutes. You say you were trying to convince those guys you were. Well, what's going to happen to all those Orthodox Union Jewish rabbis that you? Well, like I said, that's all microbial cheese. And last I thought we have to eat, and that's pretty much bread. And I'm pretty sure there's no horse hoof in there. Just guessing. Oh, that's right. I called the corporate office and talked to them. Can you remember that boundaries issue thing I got? Yeah. So your boundaries are you've learned that hey, that guy likes to eat alone, and even though you'd like to eat with him because you've known him for about 50 years and stuff like that, and he was all that. So you go up there and force him to eat with you, right? Because you don't have any boundaries, correct? No. You say, no, you respect other people and you say, hey, you want to eat alone? That's what kind of like, sure. Well, let's see what he has to say here. Hello?
Pizza ready?
Yeah, it's right. You want to come down and get some, or do you want me to bring it up?
No, I'll come down. I gotta get ice anyway.
All right.
All right. Bye.
I offered. You can imagine why I learned from Avis. Oh, I think I need an Advil. Are they done? Did they stop barking? Oh, thank God. Remember, because we don't want people to think we have an anger problem. And if you raise your voice at those dogs that you they're going to suggest perhaps anger management, right? So we're going to keep it right there for everybody. Did you want to eat down here?
That's right. I'm watching golf up there.
Are you watching golf? What golf?
A normal tournament.
What one?
I don't know what they call it. Genesis or something.
Genesis? What did you do when you were out?
Went to the park for a little bit.
I forgot to tell you that we were out of eggs. So there's not a whole lot to eat tomorrow. Are you going out tonight?
No.
You look tired. Huh?
I know. 7 o'clock. Everything.
Why? I wasn't loud. Well, you were sleeping till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon before.
No.
Yeah, noon, 11 or noon for a while. They don't. I got. Remember, I got this streaming, so we don't want to swear in case any kids watch.
Yeah, I brought you a pizza sauce.
Yeah. You see? Doesn't matter how many hundreds of times that guy watched me play sports, and you know, he wants to be alone. I guess that's, Avis says you don't care, you just, it's not necessarily as much any, well, they like to be alone. Okay, well, I'm glad we've established you don't have any boundary issues. Maybe we can get Tiny Tim to reset that government iPad that you can send nuclear weapons to the moon with or something. Why? How that thing is staying? How can it have that distance though? That's what I'm saying. Like the nearest Verizon tower is like it's a ways. Like I knew they were advanced, but those. Oh. She said, "What's on that pizza?" Because I got to slaughter that. No meat, just cheese and pineapple and green olive. Oh yeah. Mm. And I'm not gonna order this for a while because I got like Tiny Timmy on the horn going. I'm waiting for him. I'm getting his goat on that iPad. I need to put an APB out. If you get anybody orders a cheese pizza with just pineapple and green olive, I want you to call me. I'm just playing. Hi. No, you know what I'll do though to throw you off for a while, just to save you some time. Yeah, I ain't gonna do that. I'm going to be going. You know where I'm going, don't you? Yeah, I already know. You know, right? That's right. You remember how I said I'm an equal opportunity booger kind of guy? I like to go to the buffets and all that. You know, the subways where they prepare it in front of me. Since my videos might be all over the planet, and I might be making some people mad with this here. You know, they might be putting a little hey cow on me like that there. Yeah, I'm going to the frozen pizza section for a while. I'm just saying. Yeah. Those are pretty good too. You can add meat to them. I got this here kosher meat. Get a cheese. It's all microbial. And if that old chain smoking rabbi, if he don't like it, I'm gonna put my yarmulke on. Right? I mean, are we getting closer on that balance sheet or what? I mean, hey, it's all about balance, right? Excuse me. Hmm. Uh, Pizza. Yeah, coffee. Remember that? Hebrews in the Hebrews in the Bible. You really are slow. It's just, no, a little bit. That's pretty good though. Yeah, we're gonna have to throw them off the trail for a while now. Yeah. The trail boss. All right. Well, I mean, how do I know? I mean, I got like 5,000 videos. I mean, some of this stuff is, you know, it's pretty, some of it's halfway, you know, a little bit of humor to keep you interested. I know, I mean, I'm obviously not that, but I made that in case they accuse me. Because if you haven't noticed, if, they got that thing called, remember that law enforcement, you know, if they really, really want, they've designed that to, if they want to go after you, yeah, you know, sure. Uh, you tend to find a way, you know, kind of like, you know, how they always overcharge everything, and they always get you on one or two. Yeah. Hmm. Yep. Ah. Huh. So you say, what's that? That's a ring. You say you wear a ring. Well, what do you do that for? And I say, well, I say, well, I'm not going to need a wedding ring when I get married. I got it right here. You say, did have to, no, I bought that there. You know, sometimes I wear it over here. So you say, are you legally married? No. Legally? Is there any documents down at the, no. You say, well, that's pretty loose. So most of the time, so we don't lose it, we put it over there. You say, well, why would you want that? Well, that's a good reminder that, hey, you remember the dress and the sticks? Hey, we want to be able to look down there every once in a while and say, hey, you know, you still want that, right? Hey, keep working, boy. Keep your head down and don't look at them naked ladies, and remember that God, that gap way up in that air. Yeah, well, we still got the hope, right? So there's hope we're gonna sign on the dotted line. You know, we're we're getting pretty ugly and old, but we gotta keep that hope alive till there is none. And we're not trying to play for the Chicago Bulls. We're just trying to get half the kingdom. That's all. We ain't asking for everything here. Okay. So you say you bought that ring. You don't have like little kissy smoochy smoochy over in that chair there. Nope. And you bought that ring a while back, just to like. Well, you remember all that in the Bible, do the things as if they're not like they was, and the whole like, so now, so you got some, you like, well, no, you're just saying, hey, you kind of notice that thing there for every once in a while, like when you wash your hands and stuff like this, and you'll notice it, right? Uh, and it'll give you a reminder what your goals, where we're trying to go. I look every time I look down there. I see a dress going all the way to the floor with them things that look like chopsticks, and they got a bunch of yarn around it. Yeah, and I'm thinking, keep working. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, is there anything better than cheese and pizza sauce? And y'all don't know, but hey, if that uh Tommy's looking tired, and he don't. It's winter, here in your Forest Lake, Minnesota. So I'm noticing it. Nope, no, I'm not being disrespectful, but maybe he a little. I noticed he'd been going through a little. He went out fishing for a while with that old, that. So he doing some stuff, but I guess he was thinking about maybe going down there to, I don't know. They didn't even, because of the virus, all the homeboys from the Boys in the Hood from back in New Hope. Remember how I still got a few of them guys that get together every year at the Super Bowl. Huh? They go up to old Patty's High. Yeah. And they play poker. Yep. You say, you was talking all about these ethics, and you're like, well, I only mentioned a couple, and that was, I never said they were, like, for example, that Eamon guy who I've golfed with, who Tom back when they worked together. Right? That's all I said, right? I said, he kind of into them younger gals, the ones young enough to have babies yet. I don't know if he like them in them dresses with the chopsticks or whatever. I didn't ask him that, but I golfed with that guy. Yeah, he was going to be an occupational therapist. He used to go out and I was surprised how much those people they make pretty good money. And you're going, what's an occupational therapist? Well, let's see. Maybe yeah. You're feeling pretty perky there, Nick. Little well, this herb, oh, that feel real good. Ah, I am surprised. I mean, wow. Can you imagine, like, if they had tried to really, like, put you in that little box with that big black guy, remember that? And then trying to get the medicine and all. I mean, yeah, that's like, you probably, yeah, because the way they was writing all that, yeah, I mean, they was going in that. Yeah, you would kind of say, hey, you're kind of stuck with that, buddy. Because by the time you get out of there and he get done with you, yeah, remember that medicine you got? Yeah, you didn't get that in time. And that whatever that looked like there is pretty much. Yeah, I suppose you can might cut that out someday, and then they're gonna be like a big old. And who knows, you might get that staph infection. Oh, we got that virus running around here and all that. So, thank you, Jesus. Because, if you be honest, now I'm saying be objective. Don't be a subjective nobody, you know, member. So you know, you say pizza pa. What's a Paw T? I don't know. This sounded, I'm not sure. Yeah. Hey, more pizza. I mean, if a guy like Tom Emmer and a guy like Ted Cruz and all them, if well, I seen him get off. They all mad at him because he left. I seen the news headline because he left Texas during some kind of whatever they're going down there. Can't keep up with it all. I mean, if those guys can go on and say the stuff they say when they don't need armed security, and like I'm pretty sure that like the Tom Emerson, they're pretty straight laced, right? Maybe they never even did any of that thing there ever, right? And maybe all they ever did was have one or two of them beers every once in a while with the polar bears or whatever. And so you're like, well, I'm saying I've listened to them, okay, and I see how bad people hate them and want to maybe hurt them, and I'm thinking, and I'm carrying this here Bible around, praying like a nun. No, I'm not a good housewife. Might try being a great, great house husband. It probably ain't a bad gig if you can get it nowadays. But you're saying, hey, you're like, if those guys can survive without like armed security, hey, I'm all right. Cause remember, excuse me, you know what I mean? No, but I mean, but I'm pretty sure, like you can, like in my belief, right? Obviously, God knows everything, and mm, yeah, but just so you know, like I don't have a whole lot of time. Again, like if you're gonna come in here, and if anybody, and then maybe they never will because I got. If you want me to take you seriously, yeah, you like if you're having more, like if you have one drink occasionally, like your gal, and you're having one glass of white wine or something with that, that steak or whatever you're doing, or maybe it is that, hey, I'm feeling real frisky tonight. You bump it up to two maybe, and you say, hey, and you're doing that every once in a while. See, I ain't gonna do it. But if you're keeping it right around there, I'll listen to what you got to say, and I'll try to answer your question. But if you're doing any of that other stuff, any of this, just forget it. Okay, I'm just saying. And so yeah, because I don't want to talk to them people. I want to talk to people with a sound mind. All right. And you say, well, no, because I really don't like that stuff. Yeah, smells like a skunk and it stinks, and I don't like what it does. So I would appreciate it if you didn't talk to me. Okay. Or quit or something. Maybe stop if you're really. And so if you're drinking more than that, a couple days, maybe on a Friday or a Saturday, but you're starting to go 2, 3 days in a row, yeah, I'm getting into that. Like, hey, I don't want to talk to you. But if you're just a regular person that, hey, I like literally, you ain't drinking it for you drink one or two for the relaxation uh on Friday night, but then you skip on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe for some reason you had one in the middle of the week. If you're going much more over that, like I really can't talk to you. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not saying I won't, but if you're gonna get into a serious debate about me and my life or anything, you want to talk about the Bible or whatever, yeah, okay, fine. But if you're gonna talk to me about like trying to say, hey, maybe this guy is, oh, yeah, don't. If you're doing any of that, I ain't listening to you. I ain't worried about what you got to say. Not that you don't operate just normal, and all your rich friends and your smart racket. It's just it's my position. It's my opinion that I just don't. I've been done with that for a long, long time, and I'm done with pretty much everything. Been done for a while, but I'm not. I'm pretty confident that if you're ever get, like I said, you already know. And that's pretty. Mm-hmm. I gotta lay down. Yeah. Can you kids believe we used to have these things called payphones and pagers? Can you imagine a life, kids, grandkids, great grandkids of mine? Can you imagine living without that chip in your head? No, you can't. Because you never had a cell phone? No, you might. If you're watching this, so you probably had you're in a cell phone, maybe. It's about this tall. Looks like that little walkie-talkie thing from the Jetsons. It's kind of transmitting from that thing in your ret. Yeah, yeah. You're not going to be seeing me. Okay? Remember, kids, if we ever make it that far, you ever want to see Grandpa, don't ever let him put anything like that there in here, right here in the forehead, okay? And you say, well, hmm, yeah. We used to actually go, remember Superman, Clark Kent? He used to go in the phone booth and then, like, come out and the eagle has landed. Yeah, phone booth. Can you imagine? They used to have these things you'd walk in, sometimes they'd have a seat for you, and you'd close the door and, put your weapon in there, and you could call people. And now they have removed every single one so that when they turn this off, you have no way to call mom, but she don't answer anyways, so you're like, and then you're like, when mom doesn't answer, you're like, well, wait a minute. Remember when they sent out them two really, really big, the biggest polar bears in the precinct? And you're like, that was really nice to get mom on the phone right away, because they were like, okay, well, mama's on that phone right there, and she have the kingdom. We got to, we probably don't want to just start rifling to it, figuring out how he did all that and seeing what's in his pocket, you know? And they're saying, okay. But so I'm thinking when I go out, I'm already thinking, hey, that option ain't there. So you really, really got to be real careful. And you keep them two big polar bears away from you as much as possible. You know, man. You say, well, what if one of your children? No, if we're gonna be real close, no. I've been on this here planet for almost 45 years. I know I'm a little annoying, a little talkative, a few other things, but I got a pretty good idea of what's going on here. And you know what? Look, if we're gonna be real close, like this here, guess what? None of us are ever gonna smell any of that marijuana, or that none of that's ever gonna be anywhere near here, inside this wall, say, or me. hmm And if you can't do that, then I guess that's God's will. But and that alcohol, yeah, like I said, seriously. So if you wouldn't give that up for the sake, remember how it's don't cause your brother to stumble. Like if that was more important, that if you had to have that so bad that you wouldn't want to be with me or around me, well then you probably wasn't meant to be. Because that stuff there really stinks. And I don't like it. So, you know, uh, if you want to decide between, being my friend or whatever, then, hey, I don't like that stuff. And honestly, I think it's very dangerous. You remember how I almost turned into Jacob Wetterling? Yeah, I had kind of a bad experience the very first time. Probably was a good sign. Probably shouldn't spend my next 10 years playing around with that stuff, but oh, yeah, I did. A little bit here and there, you know. Same thing with that alcohol. Hey, you got it. Hey, if it's more important for there's plenty of people that do that. There's only a few guys that say, hey, I don't want to do that. I like the way my mind feels right the way it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And see, can you imagine if I ever get that girl in that dress with them chopsticks thingies? You think I want to ruin it? I want the full experience. I don't want, that whatever that alcohol. No, honey. Oh yeah, I wanna know what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't want to be all like having this smell over here. Maybe I'm a little dizzy or none of that. Nah, just me and half the kingdom. That's all we need. Oh no, we don't. You know what? Probably if you got like this gal that'll get in that dress with them little sticks there, get a little yarn, and you're thinking, you're looking over and you're going, you ain't satisfied with that, and you're going, I think we need to make this a little better. So, oh, how about some alcohol here? That might. Oh no, how about that stinky stuff? Let's get some of that burning, and you need that to enjoy that pretty little girl you got there in that dress, and then she got them sticks for you. Yeah, she probably ain't half the kingdom. I'm just saying. Pretty safe bet. Yeah, you'll probably be all right. Just the way it is. Yeah. And then you go and get into how many times did I tell you? I don't know. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna count it. Is it fear or alcohol? Is more of a warning? Remember how they kind of go? They go hand in hand. Pretty much, I forget. If you get rid of that one, you ain't got to worry about that one. If you do this one here, God's be like, hey, you're supposed to be mine. Remember that? The peculiar. Hey, I'm kind of upset. It don't bother that other guy, but when you start putting that inside your body, remember the temple of God? Oh, yeah, I'm going to put some of this down on you. You're going to be like, there's a lion in the street. No, there's a lion. No, it's a polar bear. So, Nick, we've got reports of you're kind of a possessive, selfish kind of guy from the get. You talk to those secret doctrines, and we know that they've kind of been flagrantly, maliciously attacking character, attempting to assassinate you. Yeah. And so we just need a little help clearing up. We want a little demonstration to see that you're not a selfish individual. Okay. So you got that pizza up there, right? And you're kind of full. You're like, yeah, that was pretty good for two guys. I'm like ready to take a nap. But you can tell I like to eat in restaurants and then large white women on that farm up that way. Mm-hmm. Remember that? And you're like, are you sure you're not real selfish? And you think about other people? Convince us. And you're going, you don't. And I'm like, you don't. You seriously, after everything I said, you're actually asking me to prove that? And we're like, well, we just want to cover every base. We just want to make sure. And I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah.
How was your pizza?
Oh, it was good. The crust was a little bit soggy.
Soggy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was afraid to cook it any longer. It was getting crispy.
Oh, yeah. The edges are crispy, but
So why do you think
good though.
why do you think it was soggy?
I don't know.
So there's one more piece up there, and I was wondering if you'd like
No.
it.
No, I've got what I need here.
You sure?
positive.
Because I'm about to eat it.
No, eat it,
All right.
please.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, would a homophobic, misogynistic, bigoted pig, selfish guy do something like that? No, probably not. We got one more piece of pizza. Honey, I don't really know what's gotten into this guy, but I don't know if these videos have been like therapy for him, but I mean, I have not detected any of this guy, that kind of where he likes to talk black for quite a while. I mean, I can actually tolerate listening to this guy. I'm not sure about my assessment yet, but we're making progress, sweetie. I don't know how he said it was soggy. That's strange because he didn't get. Um, so you say you eat healthy? Yeah, almost 100% whole wheat crackers and bagels. I mean, every good kike, like me, right? Because that's what they call me. Um, likes their bagels, right? Yeah, but this is definitely not whole wheat. So it's a treat. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna be full now. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Ah, you know, I really hope nobody put boogers in this because he called ahead, didn't he? Yeah. In my aunt, my aunt Lori would be, when she owned the restaurant the last 10 years by herself because well there wasn't enough revenue. Remember that to go around, so it was slowing down. And you remember Mike say right, and I would come. My mom, they would. I could still wasn't like when my mom owned it, but Lori would let me come around and get a meal at a discount or whatever, a little bit here and there. And of course, going into a place, right, where you have been pretty much all your life cooking, and your mother owns it, and you start to think about, oh, yeah, Yeah. Why wouldn't she let me cook my food anymore? I can just come in the back real quick, make that BLT. Remember with bacon? And I can out the back 5 minutes. Most people you wouldn't even see me. But yeah, she wouldn't let me do that. I'm thinking, why not? Not a big deal. Well, you remember that Barry guy? Yeah. You remember Mike, right? Yeah. I'm wondering if he. Do you think he did anything to my food? Hmm. One time I did. I never, ever did anything disgusting, gross. One time he came in and Mike came in the restaurant and it was like, it was that time of the night where you're preparing, I don't know, 500 pieces of pre-cooked bacon because it's the only way to handle the bar rush. Remember that? Yeah, we're going to the dance. So you're cook, there, and it's pretty slow, before. And he's cooked there for about 50 years, remember? And he comes in right at that time when he knows I got about 500 pieces of bacon cooking. And he comes in, I probably had Barry with him too. And he comes in with about 10 people, and they had about 4 or 5 of them work there. And I'm thinking, this is like the worst time because we're and then after that, I got to do the sausage links. I got to do about 500 of them because I got to cook about 500 over easy eggs in about 2 hours, right? And I'm kind of difficult to work with sometimes, so there's only like one other person with me, right? Yeah. And so he comes in, he knows. So one time I did. I like there might have been some extra bacon juice. Remember that stuff coming out the guy's ears? Yeah, that might have been all. I might have cooked their food in that. Might have done that. Like 10 of them. But did I ever put a booger in anybody's food ever? No. Did you? Oh yeah. You seen like me. So that was the big thing. If you go with Mike Walker, I learned that surveillance. You gotta. He did the chips. You gotta always show the camera. Yeah. Did you ever do anything weird in the bathroom and not wash your hands? No. Did you ever like? Is there any way any kind of disgusting things from your mouth or anything ever? Any spittle or any ever went in anybody's food in like 40 years? No. I would never do that. Huh. So there was just that one time you got mad because you figured old Mike said he had something to do with that. And old Barry Burgoyne coming after you a couple of times. You're thinking, and then he showed up at like 7 p.m. And I'm thinking, you could have came about an hour earlier. Every night we've been doing this here for 50 years. You know damn well that I need to get this done. And you come in here with 10 people, you know what you're doing. And so I cooked your food in bacon grease and sausage. And I did, everything. I did. Probably tastes pretty good too, actually, but they got mad because it was a little soggy or something. And so he kind of didn't like me at all after that, I guess. So I'm wondering, did he ever do anything? Well, I had these cameras in the kitchen, so I probably would know, right? Because in that special operations group, right? And I like have these secret cameras in there, right? like other people, because I'm an international spy, right? Yeah. So, hmm. What is Pluto TV? Pluto. See, I used to, man. Oh, bad boy, like to call it Pac-Man. Oh. You remember? I was pretty good at just about anything I did. You know, I never was great enough, but I don't think old Rush Boy he ever went to college, did anything in college. But you know, like I said, I mean, hey, remember that guy? He looked like he was supposed to be in GQ. Remember that? Like sixth grade, and you're like, are you sure they didn't hold you back? But I know they held you back one, and I think it was probably two, but you wouldn't admit to that. I think you're thinking, yeah, if we were the same age, I'd probably get you in that dodgeball, huh? So I was pretty good at just about everything. You know, I never got good like Langer, but I didn't care because he was friends with little Timmy, and little Timmy was way too big for his britches. Yeah, and so because he lived over in them Oaks of Shenandoah, his daddy had some of this hair, but he was a little snotty kid. And he was extra especially mean to me. But other than that, I can't think of anybody that ever got mouthy that would get me to call him little tiny Tim. Yeah. Remember, I went to the biggest school on the planet, on the state anyway. And for the most part, got along with everybody. hmm Not saying they liked me, but we weren't punching each other in the nose. I was kosher pretty much with everybody. And I was pretty good. One time I treaded water for like 3 hours at camp. Remember that swimming pool, kitty corner from what's her name's birthday party at the Legion, across from the pizza place where Brandon used to live in the Brown house? Garbo and all of them, and I was in there a few times. That one, that pool. Yeah, I think. I think it was more like. Yeah, it was like 3 hours. I was going for the world record. Oh yeah. I probably could have been a Navy SEAL too. I bet. No, them guys. Can you imagine? They put them guys. Oh, I know a Navy SEAL. What was his name? Oh, I'll go ask Tommy. Oh, what was his name? What that river place? His son was a Navy SEAL too, I think. What was that guy's name? Big old dude. Oh, big. What was his name? Went fishing or hunting or something. Went deer hunting one time. Went up to what was his name? Had I mean, he had this big old mustache. He was huge. Yeah, Tiny Timmy wouldn't have been nothing after that guy. If I think, if I think long enough, I can remember everything. Let's see if how good his memory is. I'm sure. I mean, he gotta know. No, he's not gonna answer.
Your call has been forwarded.
I'll think of it. It'll come to me. It always does. Not very impressive compared, but it's an honorable mention. This is way, I mean, I don't even, this was way back when I was a little kid, like probably 4, I was 5, 6 years old. God, he'd be up there too. He could be dead. Being a Navy SEAL, he was a big guy. Probably, he was always kind of stressed out too, kind of like me. A little high strung. What was his name? Oh, man. How come? It starts with a P. Now we won't answer. Ain't that something? I'll go up and get that fact. Oh, it's an interesting name. I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, so I was close. Yeah, so it was his son. I could have swore. I think he was one too. Tommy doesn't remember. Dennis Watska. I know his son for sure. W-A-T W-A-T-Z Watts K-A, I think. Yeah. Yeah. But for sure, yeah, so maybe that I remember him being really proud that his son became a Navy SEAL. And I saw that movie with Tom Cruise. I can't remember what it was. What did they call it? SEAL something. So Dennis Watsko, we would go hunting. We went hunting at least once. We would go fishing. Remember? He kind of had dark hair, kind of even almost looked him and Dudley, but yeah, Dudley takes the cake on that one, huh? Yeah, that's when you get when somebody says, "Hey, I'm about to get excited as Dudley when the crappies are about to start biting." Yeah, I mean, I yeah, I already know, right? I'm pretty sure. I guess maybe he wasn't Dennis himself, but he was a big dude. Man, he was big old black mustache. Oh yeah, you wouldn't mess with that guy. And his son. So his son became a Navy SEAL, and he worked with the guys there. Yeah, Dennis Watska. I'd say he was one of the very first. That was before I even know whatever happened to them. I don't know. Is that what do you think that is? Because most people, it's remember what's up is down. Like if you have not only I don't care if it's legal, and like I said, it's on a federal level with look, you don't ever look. I'm telling you, firearms and there's lots of people who take the chance that have never had a criminal record, probably, I suppose, and they drink a little beer up at their cabin and probably do a little and go hunting and maybe even got permits to carry, I suppose. A lot of them, I bet. But is it just me? Why is it? Even if I had, it makes me nervous. I don't want to be around that or anybody that does that. Certainly not with guns. Never. To the point where people get offended, like there's something wrong with me. Like, oh, you have a problem. Like, why? And I'm going, I just don't want any to be anywhere near any of that stuff. Is there anything? Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I kind of like I'm on the stimulant side on that coffee, and hey, I guess they got some of that other stuff. I guess is if it keep you from sleeping all day. Guess we'll have to see the jury is still out on some of those designer drugs, eh? They got some new stuff since what did they call it? Oh, Ritalin. They've had a few since then. Uh, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go lay down. And then I'm gonna come back and do. I need to go lay down for like an hour and just shut my eyes and pray. And then I gotta come back and I gotta sing to Half the Kingdom, wherever she is. Right? She's out there somewhere. Yeah. God already knows. He already knew what path, right? Yeah, I can already see it. 90% of anybody I mentioned, they're like, "What a fruitcake! What a Bible thumper! What a dork! What a all kind of stuff." Like, yeah, what a loser, right? Because you didn't go to Drake Law School for 4 years and become a zealot. Um, and then like ethically, like forget to say, oh, remember? Should I do it one more time? Hey, buddy. I don't know if you realize we're not in my county. And that down there isn't even my county. If you didn't remember, I went to Drake Law School. I'm not sure where that is. Is that like somewhere in New York or something? But I'm kind of a ways from there. Remember that? Where is that? Let's Google it. That, oh, Iowa. That ain't bad. Drake. Okay. Drake. Drake. You know what we call Drake? That's the guy that takes everybody Annie's up. And you remember in the back smoke field room, we had a rake. Yeah, I might have done that a time or two, eh? We call it the rake. And you rake, and everybody's in there. Start that. You got the money boss. Remember him? The money boss? You got the money boss, and he sold everybody that. But you got that guy that handled the rake. He kind of like a collector. He ain't the accountant, the money boss. Excuse me. Remember that? And you're like, hey, keep talking. You're like, look, Nick. You understand? I really never did like you. Yeah, I kind of got, but I always thought you was a pretty good looking guy, and you got that nice looking gal wife of yours and some pretty nice looking kids and all that. Remember that Gatling cannon, old boy, you know how they always says, hey, you remember Jerry Maguire? She didn't say, hey, you had me at Bible study or pink highlight, remember that? You're like, you had me at hello. My gal's like, you had me at Bible study. As soon as you said you had those in the Bibles in the plastic and you were going to go get me a real pink, like the brightest pink highlighter you could find, old mommy. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, you had me then. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, when I seen that, that was like a Jerry Maguire moment, man. I was like, when I walked in that guy's office, I mean, all I had known is, we had somebody in a distant family member, probably had to go see him for about 25 felonies because he liked to break in people's houses and steal shit. Remember that guy? Yeah. And you're like, hey, this is G-rated house. Uh, my bad. Hang on. So nice right there. Nice cruising altitude. See? Yeah. And you're like, yeah. Mindfulness. Did you learn anything in your DBT, Nick? Because, remember you went there for about a year? Willing hands, folks. We're going to do a little relaxation. We've got willing hands up towards God. Everybody, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in through the nostrils. Breathe out. Breathe in through the nostrils. Breathe out through the mouth. Let's do that 2 or 3 times, everybody, and then, okay. Settle down a little bit. Back to normal. So you say, I know you kind of like that. You're kind of into those more, I guess, is it, they give you get a little bit more this, because I mean, I was always going to call you if I ever knew anybody that got in a car accident. Kind of like old Bob the Butcher, but before he came out with that 12-foot crowbar under my, remember that? And you're like, hey. Yeah, I was always going to call, like if I got in a car accident, if I didn't ever have to go in that box with that, you remember that? And you're like, okay. And you're like, you've been always wanting to say this, but you never did because you knew I was going to walk out or there's nobody else. And You realize you're in a spot where if you ever get in trouble again, you're going in that box with that guy. And so you probably ain't gonna need to call me anyways because I can't do anything. So go ahead, tell me what you think. And you're like, okay, thank you. And you're like, one more time, please. And you're like, yeah. So you're more into them kind of guys, right? That break in people's houses. Oh, I got one other thing. Remember that? Who was that had all that stuff that we were? Oh, not the Trekkie. Who was that? Oh God, I had thought of it. It'll come to me. So you're like, okay, you understand here, Nick? You know you know, I really don't like you, but I like your mom, 'cause your Aunt Alice, who's dead. Yeah, you remember that? She called me about 25 times and gave me lots of money and all that. And then when she ran out, I got to call your mom for some money. Oh, Alice and all that. Remember that? Yeah. So, yep. Oh, and we had to go to trial one time because, well, remember them down there in Lakeville? Well, guess what? I know all them polar bears. And remember them guys in my office? Them two polar bears. There's only we're down to one now to get a guy retired. Yeah, they was kind of the original. You like up here, the guy across the street. Yeah, you know all that. See, but we kind of a ways from there. Remember that? You're like, yeah. And you're like, so it's a little bit easier for you. You see, you look at my skin, right? You see, I'm Asian and I'm really good looking. Like, yeah, I know you know that. Huh? You think, yeah, you like Asian girls, don't you, Nick? Yeah, you know that. Always, I like. Hey, I've never discriminated against any girls. Oh no, I've liked all different kinds of girls all my life. And you're asking me a question you already know the answer to, and I'm thinking, hmm, and so you're saying what? You're saying, yeah. So I mean, I know I kind of don't like you, but that don't make you stupid. And eventually, you kind of figure out it. You figured out I was the only guy that really gonna help you. So you were smart enough to really not really super piss me off too soon, right? And let's not forget, I mean, these are polar bears. If they decide to go kamikaze on you, remember that thing about as they get older, there's less of a deterrent to go to prison, even if it's a polar bear. Sometimes they're like, hey, whatever, I go, I take one for the team, or I'm just lost it, right? That happens to polar bears too. And so you're like, yeah, that polar bear. You remember that guy named Wagner? Mhm. And that other guy named McDonald. Yeah, them are like the original polar bears down that way. Yep, pretty aware of that. I'm not couldn't wasn't real good at math, but I figured that part out. You're like, yep. And so I kind of know them, obviously, because we got that Gatling cannon in there, like the coolest looking thing. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm home. This guy is my guy. I don't care. Hey, right? You're thinking Second Amendment, boy. I mean, you ain't got, hey, I mean, you don't even got to really talk to this guy. What you do, you just go in there and you lay your cash on us. You be like, here, have a nice day. I ain't gonna bother you no more because you got that real pretty half the kingdom at home with them kids, and you don't need, why would you wait? Why would you want to waste time with me? Because, right? I mean, you don't need to talk to me. Why would I have any questions? You got that cannon down there. I mean, hey, that's right there. You know what? I'm thinking, look, there's no there's that's the kind of relationship you should have with your attorney, right? And you're like, I mean, your attorney is always going to do the best for you. And then when he tell you, hey, this is what I got, and this is where we at, then you decide, hey, do you got some more money? Because I got to go talk to a couple more polar bears, or I got to find it, maybe a polar bear that'll work a little bit with us or something. And you're like, hmm. And pretty much normally you would that's how it goes, because I used to have a couple of lawyers before, like that other guy, that polar bear. Oh yeah, what was his name? Brock Hunter. Yeah, that guy who was in the military, remember? And I don't know if I mean, he got me out. That's like within hours of my member. So there was like Vincent Waters, there was Brock Hunter, and then there was, of course, Anthony Edward Ho, my guy. You remember that? And you're like, yeah, so you kind of understand. I know you're not real smart, dude. And you kind of understand. I got that cannon, so you're really trusting me, and you're almost so. You until I give you a reason not to trust me, you're just like, here's my money. How much you need? All right. Okay. Here's the options, and I'm gonna need a little more. All right. Yeah. I'm smart. I mean, I watched that movie Lincoln Lawyer. I know how some of that works. Um, I'm thinking, okay. Right. And so you said, well, I mean, you already know it's kind of like your mom's lawyer, right? And you can tell they're getting along, and you're well aware of when Mama get too fisted. Daddy'll tell you that story. So you already know she's saying stuff to this guy, and not necessarily. You know how she didn't want me here for the closing to see that water problem. Might be the same principle. I'm just guessing, right? Not real smart here, kind of slow. And so, but you're playing it cool because you're getting a big discount, and he got that Gatling cannon, and I'm about ready to say, hey, where do I get one of them? And I'm thinking, hmm. And then I get up there and I see this book. He's got old Bubba. Now, this is way before Bubba liked to dress up in dresses and put on high heels with Epstein and take a ride on a Lolita Express. And he clearly made that obvious, because my mom asked him about it. Remember that we got that thing that's unique to Minnesota called the Democratic Farmer Labor Party? Yeah, in the club of shy, I should tell you about it. Yeah, because we used to have that thing called farms where you didn't have to bail them out. So you got a whole bunch of, you remember that big guy, old Wilson, did his taxes for his parents? Remember that guy? You talk about them guys on the boat real pissed off? Excuse me. Oh, yeah, his name might be Brock Lesnar. Yeah, his parents probably, Brock probably know a few guys real pissed off, and they're like the biggest polar bears on the planet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, them guys. And you're like, okay. And you're like, wow. And you're like, yeah, we used to have those, and Mama get to talking, and you're like, okay. And you're like, he's like, yeah, I really used to like uh, Bill Clinton, before the scandal, the dress, whatever. But he kept the book, and so it was a talking point. And I'm starting to look around, and I'm thinking, I see that polar bear way down here in Napa Valley, and that zoo, Minnesota Zoo, ain't real far from there, and I'm pretty sure they got a couple polar bears over there too. And you're like, with that Gatlinburg cannon down there, and that book there, they don't go together. And so I already started getting suspicious. And I'm thinking, you better be quiet because you're getting a real good price here. So just keep watching. I'm thinking, okay. And you already know your mama up to. She always trying to play a little something. So yeah, but she, like I said, you're getting a pretty good discount at this point. So you're gonna be cool, right? Yeah. But you're wondering, you're already on the radar with that. You get me all going, hey, you want to talk about old Dudley getting excited when the crappies are gonna start biting, man? When I saw that thing, hey, I'm thinking the only thing better than that is what? Oh yeah, you got half the kingdom in that dress all the way down to that floor. And yep, she got them chopsticks out with that yarn wrapped around it. She's making me like some gloves or something for winter. Mm-hmm. That. Right. I'm thinking, and then like, what is that? He's got there's a cannon down there, Ma. And he got this, there's a book of Bill Clinton. I mean, that was the first sign. Right. I'm thinking, but this guy's good looking, remember? And he's real cool. Yeah. Yeah. He might have even had his daughter that I went there once or twice. He had his daughter there one time, and I'm thinking, all right, he's a family man. He's good looking. And he's got that cannon. I'll let that book there slide for a while. I'm thinking, okay. And so whatever, some time go by, right, and hey, you're like, whatever. And he gets you out of it, right? Hey, no problemo. Everything went real smooth. Wasn't, yeah, you had to like do a weekend or something, but they weren't gonna get to send you up to the thing, and so I forgot all, whatever. Thank you. Yeah, I think I sent him a Christmas card, and then I had another mishap, and he got me out of it, no problem. I mean, there were fines, and it went on my record, but I didn't go in the box with the big 600-pound black guy, which I know the other guy that is kind of giving marches. You remember how I kind of know a couple of them guys? I mean, we're not like real tight, but I just happened to run into a few of them that probably know them. Like if that guy wanted to get a hold of that guy in the box, the big guy with doing the push-ups and all, everybody giving them 6 eggs. I'm pretty sure they could have. He probably they knew each other, and so he kept me away out of there because yeah, so everything was all right. No, wasn't there one little thing? Nah, no, it was pretty good, but I could tell. Oh, yeah, and so you say, well, you ask him. I could tell because he didn't really, I don't know, which I didn't really have a lot of questions, right? Because, hey, yeah, it went pretty smooth. But then when we got to this other one, remember? Yeah, that's where it kind of went south. And that's where I kind of got upset. and I can't really get him to talk to me about it. And I'm pretty sure and then he was supposed to represent me, and I was in a pinch, literally, and so. When you're up in polar bear country and the polar bears running everything and you call a polar bear that goes to golf with the polar bear that golfs with the other polar bear, that guy across the table, they called him the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor, he probably married to the polar bear daughter judge, I mean, somehow all them polar bears seem to know each other. And if that one of them polar bears is mad at you, it seems like all them polar bears get mad at you, and you seem to all of a sudden have a problem with a whole bunch of polar bears. That's what I finally figured out. And it's a little different up this way because they got some of them guys. Remember that Tom? Remember and all that? Yeah, they get a little bit more serious up there. I guess you got a little more than you bargained for, didn't you, Nicky boy? And you say, where's that never again? She want to talk about what? And she got salad. Hey. I'm open. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. And I'm thinking, but the only ones remember that he got that cannon and. Y'all, I just want to. I told this story, but I figured, well, I told it enough where, yeah, he gonna be mad at me, but it kind of got to the point, right, where I don't know. I mean, I texted him, right, and I said, hey, would you get back to me? And he did this to me a little bit last. He did it last time, and it's weird because here we're at again. Nicky Boy is in a situation where you got somebody kind of helping you, and maybe kind of nobody else really wants to help you. Mm, and you're not sure why, because you always pretty much get along with everybody. And you're not Tom Emmer, and you're not never again. You're somewhere in the middle. Do you think? You're pretty moderate. You can get along with everybody, right? Yep. And then you say, okay. And you're like, and so then your guy, remember all that? And you're smart enough to know if you say something in the middle of something like that, it's really not a good idea when they withdraw from the case. I mean, you figure that out. Yeah, because then you're like in a really big hurry to take on some polar bears, and and they know that, and it's really hard to find counsel at that. It can, and especially if you're named Nicky Boy. So you kind of you're pretty smart. You kind of know, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. They're like, well, how do I balance this without making this guy quit and getting him to do his job, at least ethically, and put aside what he thinks of me or his biases, right? Fair enough, you'd think. Yeah. And it's gone pretty well. He's, done one or two, or was it one real small thing and then one big one down? Yeah, he really saved me. Hey, I had to put my time in on a couple of them. And I had to go give him my firstborn for like every day for a couple of years on one. And then and then on another one. I mean, I was on them UAs and I never failed one. They accused me one time, Shannon, remember that? Sitting outside my house, I mean, eating donuts. And if you saw her, you'd know what I'm saying. And yes, it was a mean, just waiting, like eating donuts and waiting to lock people up. Man, like I just can't imagine somebody living life like that. And so you're like, well, I did. He helped me, no question. And in fact, when they tried to railroad me one time. So on the first case, he helped me up here in Washington. I had gotten what? What the heck was that? Oh, you remember them black people that about the boat and all that? Yeah, there was. Now I'm going on the fly here, so I'm pretty sure that was the case down what about 10 years ago when I first moved, very first moved here. Yeah, it's been over 10 years, and back then. What was your favorite thing to do? Because remember back in the day, when Daddy, remember how they used to drive you home, and your dad is Mr. Recovery. You sat at the lunch table with Mr. Basketball, and you was pretty good at dodgeball and basketball yourself, and you're pretty good at baseball, all-star catcher, pitcher. Let's see, indoor soccer. You're pretty decent at everything. You got a few of these here. You ain't got anything in your pockets. You only had one girl ask you to pull her hair, and you didn't know what to do. You did a little bit of that, not much. Mostly got along, except for that one guy had to drag out the house, and that was Scabies, sister's crazy boyfriend that the Christians up at Northtown Mall with the dry cleaning tried to help him in his life. There was no hope for that. I don't know what he stole. I find out later he stole from everywhere he went. That was really the only bad guy, and then there was the only one that really annoyed me was Tiny Timmy. And even Langer knew, even though Langer wanted to punch me in my nose because that little Tiny Timmy, Langer knew better, and he would even say hi. Because Langer knew it was gonna be a bad day if he did that for Tiny Timmy. So he was cool. And so you pretty much get along in life and you kind of skate by, I suppose. You could say, you know, never quite smart enough to go to Drake or University of Minnesota. Never really wanted, you can't, because you got the family businesses. And so, yeah, you're always back and forth from California. So you're not making a whole lot of connections. You remember that, right? But you got this lawyer here and you move up to Forest Lake, remember about 10 years ago? And you're like, hey, coffee. So you say, well, this is on paper. And this one I don't even really need to explain these. I admitted, I said, the DUIs are pretty straightforward. Uh, Now, there was a lot of entrapment that you can't prove, but that neither here nor there. Doesn't matter. It's kind of like same thing. Doesn't if your cousin calls the police on you, yeah, you don't talk to her for 10 days and never trust her again, but you did something that police like. But if you're the police and you feel like following Leslie because she's like really good looking back then, and I mean she was so good looking, my dad didn't even care how crazy she was, right? Right? No, she wasn't even that crazy. She my dad probably made her crazy too. She never really there's always that stepchild. Yeah, she was all right. Yeah, she took some pictures. She likes to pull out that chest and go, "I'll make it," but she's always trying to get me go surfing. Yeah, I mean, she's always mean and she's always chased me off every goddamn time. Period. There's no negotiating with that. Now you can argue and say, well, maybe once in a while you were kind of a tiny Timmy. Yeah, but I didn't deserve it the way she did it every time. And so you say, Well, you don't really need it gives context to my lawyer. It doesn't. I'm only doing it. See how rational and what a person I'm not trying to justify that behavior because especially nowadays it's just too dangerous. I even distracted driving. I didn't appreciate. Remember the doctors. Distracted driving is very very dangerous. And yeah, I will not do that anymore. I mean, it's hands on the wheel. It can wait. The phone, well, it's illegal, but I mean, even reaching for something. Look, don't ever take your eyes off the road, kids. It took 44 years, but I did. I almost had to get a new paint job on my truck because and really made a polar bear mad. Yeah, he was a little upset. Understandable. It was kind of close. It's happened before. A few times. Everybody's kind of had that where you a little bit, you go over the line a little bit, and the other person is usually paying attention, and you're like, "Thank you, Jesus." But if they weren't, if he was kind of looking at you, you'd kind of, yeah, you'd be talking to each other. That's for sure. As far as a head-on collision, I don't, it wasn't gonna be like that. It wasn't that bad, in my opinion. But I'm not the trooper, right? So you say whatever. So no distracted driving, and you're like, thank God, and I'll remember that one, regardless of what Mike Welch decides to say. Hey, which he used to be really nice. The budget must be tight because he used to be a little bit looser. I don't know if he was mad or he wasn't quite as nice as he usually is. I've had to deal with him a couple times, and he was a little more uptight. Not willing to wheel and deal as much. So I don't know if it's the virus or he's trying to bring in a little extra revenue or something. I don't know, but he seemed like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Point is, no more distracted driving. Yeah, because oh, it's one thing when you're driving a used vehicle, but could you imagine, like, so you say, why are you telling us, Nick? Well, more so I'm telling the truth, and it's to give context of what my lawyer did for me, not to justify my behavior at all. Because there is zero. You just can't. Times change. There's a lot more people. Remember, I've always said we are growing exponentially as a population. There's people, it's less and less people to keep track of more and more people. And those people are often more like us than you think, and they always have been, but it's getting more. They're just regular people too doing a job called law enforcement, right? And generally, yes, you'd think they are people that don't do that, or they don't necessarily like naked ladies except for their wife. And I think, yeah, I think it used to be more so that way. And I think it slowly, they're people too, is what I'll say. And you said, well, whatever. You get the idea, I hope. The point is, you say, so you move up here, remember, to be closer to mama, because I know they're going to start burning the buildings down. I said that. Saw that coming. And I'm like, I'm kind of the older, when you're younger, and a few of them mean dudes. Uh, all right, but you get older and you can't run as fast, and you get about 5, 15 of them young ones that are real steel pistol. I mean, they can give you a bad day real quick. They don't care what you got to say. Yeah, them ones. So you pretty much need to stay out of the way unless you know them. You remember that? We learned that real quick, didn't we? Yeah. Okay. So you're like, maybe I'll move up closer to mom and try to have a relationship. No, contrary to popular belief, I do not live in my mother's basement. Okay. And so you're saying, okay. And you're like, hey, So you say, well, oh, so you say you don't like black people, right? No, I never said that. I said there was a black guy down at the casino at Treasure Island. And remember, what's your favorite thing to do when it starts to snow? You're in a blizzard and a snowstorm. It's almost kind of like going up to that. Remember that way up about 4 hours where the fishing's real good? Well, the snowmobile is pretty decent too. You had one of them. You did a little bit of that. And you were pretty good at that too, except, I always had the learning curve, had to, hit a couple pylons and then, roll a couple, but then, hey, right? So, and you're like, well, so you say, okay. And you're like, most people are like, honey, did you stock up on those 10 bars of peanut butter? And do we have enough stuff we might get snowed in, honey. It could be a couple days before the plows get here. Do you got your enough work to work from home? And Nick's like, yeah, I already know. I'm ready to go to town. Yep. And you know why? Because them cops. hmm They usually will. They want to stay down with all their cameras, and as long as you don't go in the ditch, they pretty much will stay in their house, unless you're really asking for trouble. Because it's cold and there's a bunch of snow and they don't want to go in the ditch. And so they're like, yeah, unless I got to go out there, they call me out there for a serious accident, I'm staying right in here with half the kingdom and all these cameras, microphones, and all this other stuff I got in my basement because I'm a state trooper and I like to just sit here and I got sick of sitting outside like Shannon eating donuts waiting for Nick, to burn a UA. Uh, this sounded fun, and they had an opening. And if I'm a real good boy, I might get on the SWAT team. Remember that? Yeah, like that. And you're like, okay, all right. And you're like, so in other words, I like the snow and I like to drive in it, kind of like snowmobiling and stuff. So I'm like, you're like, well, where would you go in a snowstorm? Oh, I don't know, maybe like 3 hours to the casino. I mean, what? Come on, I want the full experience again. Yeah. I mean, how we don't get a snowstorm very often. And you're like, yeah, this sounds fun. I'm like one of the only guys on the road, and I'm a really good driver. And I got the whole road, and there's like a foot of snow. Oh yeah, I'm ready to go to town. Problem is, see, and so you're like, well, what's the next best thing if you don't have any DWIs? And it's like 1952, and remember, they'll drive you home. Well, of course, you get a 12-pack of beer and put it in the back like they always did, and you just don't go in a ditch, right? Yeah. So you usually probably might have maybe done that once, twice, or something. I don't know. You might have done that. And you're like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, there's just this thing, right, with guys and power tools. You notice how those guys out on the boats until they started arresting them, they used to enjoy, hey guys, hey boys, we got some derivatives and dividends are going, hey, hey guys, want to go water skiing and get hammered? Yeah, that sounds fun. Let's drive a boat about 90 miles an hour and get drunk as hell and and we got a couple of our friends back there with ropes. Yeah, not like that rope, but yeah, remember, so I'm not the first member. Right. There's something about like beer and like motors and things and oh, remember them guys up in Wisconsin? Yeah. Watercross, remember Gary? Yeah. Pretty sure like they're having a few beers up there somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Is it dangerous? Sure. Have they been doing it for 500 years? Yes. Did uh is it did they basically put the kibosh? Yeah. Because people get hurt occasionally, and probably not the smartest thing to do, especially when we got more people out there. And they've just society changes. I get it. I understand. But that used to be what I do. I'd be like, hey, nobody around, let's go drive. Hey, fun, casino, fun. So you get down to Treasure. You've been here for what, over 11 years? You've lived in this here crap floor? Yeah. And you decided not to fix it until you figure out what you're going to do with the whole place because there's no, remember that? So you just kind of left it now after three or four, and we understand why you got pissed off and started yelling in the street because you've been through three. You weren't here for the closing, conveniently, and this water intrusion. You went back and forth with the board, the associate, and then you got that prick across the street calling the police because you're trying to clean this place up. Yeah, all this baloney. Just you can't make it up. And now we got a polar bear like waiting out there to eat you, pretty much. And now you're like, how can you not? Why do people? You're not Tiny Timmy. You're kind of you're an only child, little night and a little mouthy sometimes, and now you're really irritated, kind of like that polar bear. But you're not. You're no way near. You're not as big as that yet. Okay, so you don't want to go in that box. You want to. We'll keep an nice cruising altitude, right? Right? Yeah. And you're thinking, okay. And you're thinking, yeah. And you're like, so you left that because everybody's wondering why would you still be out after, well, after three carpets and all that and all that. It's just going to be, they're going to keep calling your brother moldy, and you're going to have mold problems till you do it absolutely right. And that's a little expensive. And we was fighting with them saying, hey, and they're like, well, it's on the inside. It's your problem. I'm like, no, you got them five guys out there. That's your problem. And now it's my problem and half the kingdom's problem. And don't worry about it, honey. We ain't ever going to get drunk naked. We're going to keep it right there. Remember that? We'll be okay, honey. And you're like, yeah. And so you're like, you leave the floor, but you're down there and you meet that nice black guy, remember? Because you don't like black people, right? Or homos, because you're paranoid of them, right? You wouldn't know. And you don't like them immigrants you lived with. You called the ICE and all them. No. So you live, all that. And you're down in Hastings because you used to like, you thought, well, that's a nice place down there. Oh, by the way, you could smoke back then yet inside playing poker. Well, you couldn't. I don't know if you could smoke at the tip, but you could smoke in the thing. And so you could have a cigar and you could have a drink, I think, in the casino back then. Maybe not. I don't know. Probably. And you meet a nice black guy? Yeah. And his friend or something decided that, I don't know, he didn't have a ride, but he lived down way where? Where was that? Oh, down by Rochester somewhere. Yeah. And you're pretty intoxicated. Yeah. Definitely. Have you been this intoxicated before? Oh, yeah. Have you ever had a problem driving? Not really. Have you ever scratched a car? No, I don't think so. Yeah, they got them things called blackouts, but I'm pretty sure if I did, they would have been a trooper or something pick me up. They got all them cameras and microphones in their basement, and they're watching everything, just waiting, like eating donuts, standing outside, like for like a year straight, thinking I'm gonna leave and go get some beer. I mean, she must have gained, 50 pounds just eating donuts, watching me, waiting for me to screw up. And then she got so frustrated. I had this stomach condition. Remember that? So we used to, the Nexium and all that, you take that. There was that one pill. Everybody still take the pink one. Be careful, boys. They'll get you. What is it? Zantac or something? One of them. I'm telling you. I'm telling you here, kids. If they still got that Zantac, there's something in that Zantac. You'll have to look this up on the internet. But if you don't want to go in there with them, well, it's they got these. It's not polar up here in this way. It's polar bears. They got your few. You got your few because and I was watching it. It's a lot bigger and it's different than 10 years ago. It's a lot. So you got your fair share of everybody, but mostly them little punk polar bears over there. Mostly them, but when they get them little ones there, when they get a whole bunch of them together, they're pretty effective. So you probably just want to stay out of there anyways, because it's scary. Especially when you get older and stuff like that. You can't move as quick and you ain't never been a fighter. And you can't get behind your good looks anymore. And you got Shannon she been trying to get you on the pilot program. See? You transfer your probation up from Rochester or whatever Canada, Olmsted. Yeah, remember that? And you're like, And you got this lawyer, he got you out of everything. And you seen the canon in the book and whatever. You give him the money, you do a weekend, or he got me home confinement on something. I didn't have to really, I had spent a weekend or something, or I don't remember. I had to go down and spend the night. Oh, and you know that one gal that knows him, and now you're like, uh-oh, you really better never get in trouble because now you got nobody to bail you out. Except, back in, remember them snack bar girls? Oh, yeah. What's her name? I got her card still. I mean, I ain't never seen a snack bar girl show up so fast. Being like, you got my guy there, you got to get him out of here. We got to go. And I'm like, where did you come from? Thank you. Man, you are good looking. Are you married? I'm single. Like, I ain't never seen anybody move so fast. And you come all the way from St. Paul, girl. Hey, and did you work at a snack bar? What's going on? Hey, I ain't got nothing in my pockets, honey. And she's like, here's my card, Kyle, man. See ya. I was like, oh, wow, that can't forget about that book bill, that book. I'm back on this cannon. I'm like, thanks, dude. How much you need? He's like, oh, maybe another $5,000, and you're gonna have to do one day over there, and you'll be all right. Don't get in any trouble. And that old Shannon, we're gonna make her eat a whole bunch of jelly donuts. Remember that? Yeah, yeah. And you're like, yeah. I'm still. Oh, Lona. Oh, Absolute. She worked for Absolute. Oh yeah. She. Hey. All right, that's enough. Hey. Quit. No, you be quiet. Okay. And you're like, boy, this guy's telling like 15. You got to get used to that. It's the ADD. I tell about 15. I got about 15 different stars going here at once. So I know I drive people nuts, but we'll get there. And so you say, wow, Leona. But say now, oh yeah, she's married. I didn't know that. Well, she was. Snack bar girl. She was probably in her 30s back then. So now she up there, but they got this thing. Yeah, they're the queen, but yeah, I mean, hey, ship up. She's married. Okay, that's all. That's all you gotta know. Don't matter. But I'm like, dude, so we're doing really well, right? I'm like, hey, I don't care about what your book's okay. Here's your money. Get me out of trouble. I didn't burglarize nobody's house, and I've been in a lot of people's houses. a lot more than that other guy you seem to like a little bit better than me for some reason. I ain't sure why. You know that guy he can barely read and write? Yeah, that one. He got a mouth way worse than old little Timmy, and he likes to abuse cats. Remember that? Not me. Remember that? And you're like, okay. You're like, we are, man, this guy, he's like my, you don't call this guy unless you're like bleeding to death. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. You send him your money and you don't bother. You don't need to ask any questions. I mean, you see how fast that Leona showed up. I mean, I think she was there before. I mean, they had the ink dry. They didn't even have time to put me anywhere. She was standing there like, you got my guy. We gotta go. Yeah, like, I don't know where she came from, but she was there for me. Boom. I was like, yeah, thank you. You're pretty nice. Thank you. I will never forget this. And I'll be calling you and telling everybody to call you that I know if they ever need anything. Mm-hmm. And that guy that sent you, remember that guy I ain't so sure about. Oh, we fine. We good. Oh, we cool. Huh? Yeah, of course. And so you're like, oh, finally, I got my Vincent Waters back, right? I got my guy. I just got to keep paying him and make sure got to keep getting him his money every day. Because I'm your average. I'm not your 25 felon criminal. I'm your average guy with you. Every once in a while, he can get you out of it. Yeah. Remember that? I knew a couple people. So hey, you got a little bit of that. And I said, usually you're okay if you don't run your mouth too much like I am now, but I got no choice and I'm really upset because I lost another Butcher Bob. And I don't know why people are doing this. He called me a zealot too. Like, I know they think I'm a kike, but I wasn't sure I was advocating for the overthrow of the Roman Empire. I mean, that's news, just like the international spy. Yeah, we're going to the downs. And I'm thinking, And you say, well, why would you? Well, how can you trust somebody? Well, it was better. Did you want to really cut your nose? Not with a bunch of polar bears, but they're already going to eat me anyways, and you won't call me back. And if I text you, you're going to say, hey, do I need to take a restraining order on you too? You kind of get the picture, right? Yeah. But I got boundary issues, and I'm selfish, and I'm a homophobe, and all this too, right? No. So you're like, you better never get in trouble in the rest of your life, because he's probably going to make sure that Leona won't even show up. Probably, but hey, it's the truth and it's ethics. And this is why I'm really mad. And then he wouldn't listen to me. And he was about to take a no contact order out on me because I'm asking you to send me my paperwork so I know what's in the order. And I'm bugging you now. Like and I don't know why, because it was going pretty well. Because I really ain't done much different. And I'm not that guy with the 25 felonies who you seem to be real good with. Who thinks he's what a dummy. Not the guy with the 25 felonies. Full-blooded polar bear. Little tiny Timmy and finish your story, Nick. We gotta, I gotta get to bed sometime tonight. So you say, So you say you're down there having fun, and that might have somehow. I mean, you're pretty hammered, and you have done this maybe a time or two. And can you make it home? Yeah, but did you go home? No. If you would have went home if you would have went north instead of south, is there any reason that you think you wouldn't have made it home the other way? The 10,000? No, the other few times you went down there. None. So what happened that you think that maybe that would have changed? Well, there was that trooper down in his basement watching me. That didn't help, and listening to our conversation that did not help, obviously. But so what happens? You meet this black guy who's I don't know, he's really nice, and he's like, oh well, and you're pretty hammered, and you're like, well, do you want to ride home? And you have no idea how far it is. So you're like, well, it's a long drive, maybe. Oh, so you're gonna drive though? So I let him drive my vehicle, so I can have a beer, right? Of course, I'm safe. Just, you know, you just dump it out on the floor or whatever, quick, and then most of the time you'll be all right? Hey, I ain't driving. You're thinking, well, maybe you'll sleep the night, or maybe. And you're just giving a guy a ride home, and yeah, and you might have been, I don't know, smoking a cigarette or something, maybe, because when you drink the beer, you do that a little bit. Have a cigar, maybe. So you get down there, and for some reason, he gives you. You're like, You start talking to him. You go in there, and he's got all these dogs, but nobody else is around, and I don't know, just for some reason, you just decide to drive home. And he gives you on the way, he says, here, this. You're like, hey, idiot. He's like, by the way, I got a little bit of this here cocaine. Remember that stuff? And I'm like, And it's like this tiny little bit. And he gives it to me. I don't even know what. You're thinking, yeah, I know. But it's the truth. The guys I grew up, they stuff so much up that their nose that those are the guys you get certified. I haven't been, I wouldn't do any of that stuff in a gazillion years. But at this time, I had a little bit on me, and I didn't do it. And I don't know if I was not going to do it or whatever, but I stuck it in my sock, and we got that trooper watching me, and um, yeah. Did you go in the ditch? No. What if you made it home? Yeah. I would have stayed awake. Were you way over the limit? Yeah. Were you gonna run into any cars? Probably not. Why did he pull you over? Because he was watching me from his basement and on all his secret cameras. And he thought that maybe I was not safe to drive, and he said, I'm just gonna go get that guy. I don't know. Or he sent somebody out to get me. I don't know. And so you had that on you, yeah. Have you ever done any of that ever? No, never since that, and I never did that. Did you ever get any cocaine or anything like that? No, ever again? Since no, that was that black guy down there in Rochester. Just it was in like a piece of paper, and I didn't even know if it was real, honestly, because it was such a small amount. And I think maybe I was a little nervous because there was nobody in this house, and I don't know. He seemed like a really nice guy, but then I got this eerie feeling of something. and there was nobody in the house, and then I don't know, and not to be a jerk, but I just, how I don't know, I just wanted to go home and sleep in my own bed. And I was pretty intoxicated, yeah. And, but I would have made it. I had driven a few times, and I know myself, would have I been perfect? But had I done that before? Sure. So you said, well, you deserved it. Well, I don't know. Some people did it a lot. Um, for whatever reason, I get pulled over, and yeah, you're going to jail. And by the way, when we get there, you're going to try to, well, you're not just stupid, right? You don't just dump it on the ground, right? Right? Right. So you're thinking, hmm. You wonder, why do you think they were watching you through some sort of camera? Well, because I made no sudden moves to my talk. And well, it's pretty natural. Like if they like to watch when you come in to see that you didn't introduce any contraband to the yeah, but not like that, do they? Anyway, uh, yeah, they were watching pretty close, and I tried to like stash it somewhere on the floor behind something when he wasn't looking, and obviously somebody else was looking. And of course, he come and he had his head down doing paperwork, right? And so he obviously somebody else was watching and told him because he didn't see me either drop it on the floor or put it somewhere, I can't remember. But he saw it, and or he didn't see it, but somebody saw it, and he comes in and gets it. And now you're not. Now you've gone from, and I don't even know what it is. He says, "What is this?" I says, "I don't know." The guy gave it to me, and he said it was cocaine or something. And I think, yeah, I don't know. You're pretty. I don't know if you got the idea. Like, hey, I'll take a little bit. I mean, this is not gonna do much. Maybe a little bit to keep you awake to get home. But then I was nervous because I didn't really want to do it, and then I didn't want to. I didn't know if it was real or what. I wasn't sure. And I thought, well, I'll just wait. I'm not going to do that. But then I get caught in the jail after it takes me for big driving under the influence. And now we go from, yep, you guessed it, we're into, you know it, butter knives and bow and arrows, buddy. Now we're getting serious, right? Yeah. Well, you forget all about that up there going fishing, and you wonder why I don't want you to bring none of that weed or nothing ever around me, because I ain't taking no chances. Because I ain't taking none since then. Well, not with that, nothing. Okay. Um, you say, well, there was one. What was it? I guess had forgotten about that. Like 7 years ago or something. So I do have. It's always a beer though. Oh, except no. So this is the one time I was drinking Grey. That's why I was so drunk. I was drinking Grey Goose vodka and had beer too. Remember, I had the little beer I had a cut. And I'm not. That's stupid, but that's the truth. And if you ever wonder why, I ain't doing that ever again. If you think I'm gonna have Shannon out there drooling, waiting to lock me up, eating jelly donuts, gaining 100 pounds on me, no, I'm too old for that. I've learned my lessons on that kind of thing. I'm just too old. And So we go from a simple so what is it? Was it second, third? It doesn't matter. It was a second or third DUI. It's not a felony because if you get 4 and 10 in Minnesota, well, anywhere I think, isn't it? Yeah, that's they charge you with a felony, and after the first few guys got off, yeah, you go to prison. They send you straight to prison now if you get that. So it's no joke. And it's amazing if you think people don't have a drinking problem and they still get in a car. Those are the people you need to send to the state hospital. Because if you can't control yourself and you know that's the law, man, right? But I'm down there and having a little fun and drive, whatever. Snowstorm, little too, because I had added a few of those Grey Goose things. So yeah, I'm a little more than I normally would be. I know I would have made it home. Would have maybe went across? I'm sure, but it was snowstorm. But I would have made it home. But he pulled me over. Oh well. So here we go. It's gonna be like $10,000, and it's gonna really stink for a while. What a year or two? Two, I think it was. Two, because they had a pilot program or some crap. Yeah. And old Shannon, she got so mad because she gets everybody. She sits out there with her jelly donuts and she waits. Sometimes a day, takes her naps, but eventually almost everybody except for me like leaves when they're not supposed to because you're on house arrest on the pilot program, and she's standing right there with she gets the jelly's dripping off her, and she's like, "Yeah, you say, hey, I got these cuffs right here. I'm gonna need to put these on you, and we're going to jail, and otherwise I'm gonna bring the polar bears in." Yeah, I don't know. She loved doing that, and she never got me ever because I seen her most of the time. And I wasn't gonna leave anyways. I don't know why do people think I'm so stupid? And then they get so mad when they can't get me. I think they just frame me, is what happens. Cause so we go from simple misdemeanor or gross misdemeanor, which really, you got the right lawyer and you ain't had one for a while. Yeah, it depends, but usually you might do a little bit or house arrest. Probably. You got it. Depends on the judge a little bit, maybe. But we're down there. This is his territory. We're in polar bear, but he knows the polar bears. So I mean, you're gonna probably get a decent deal, because Mr. Anthony Edward, he knows those. That's where he worked. That's his territory. You're gonna be all right as long as you don't piss him off, right? hmm So he gets you. Before this, it was simple stuff, right? But it was routine. But he got me off, and I asked no questions. I didn't bother this guy one bit because there's no need to. I'd pay him, and he'd say, "This is what you're getting," and I'd be like, "Oh, thank you. See, talk to you. Hopefully not for a while. Hopefully never. But if I do, I'll talk to you next time, right?" And then finally that happened, and you're like, "Well, yeah." So you go from gross misdemeanor to felony. And it's serious, right? Because you get mouthy and cocky. It's bow and arrows and butter knives, buddy, for the rest of your life, tough guy, right? So you're like, you get humble real quick, right? Yup. And you're like, okay, how do I get out of this? And so you got to give him a lot of money. And he knows your mom, though he gave you a little discount. But you start asking some questions now, right? You're like, okay, this is a felony. I'm smart enough to know that Yeah, I don't want one of these. Not like that other guy you seem to like. He got about 25 of them, but I don't want one because I'm pretty sure, there might be something wrong with that fishing up there. You probably don't want that and the volunteering thing, and probably just doesn't look good, right? So I might have started asking questions on this one a little bit because that's your job, right? You're a lawyer. You kind of done this before. You'd probably know, right? Yeah. But remember Leona to me, and then I had to go back. So whatever. I had to go down and do once a weekend or something. And then, but he was able to transfer my probation up to there. But I would go on was it the pilot program or something? Was that it? Yeah. But so it was a 2 year thing. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was and it was straight up for the DUI. And you're like, but I have this, so this is serious. And I know it's serious. And if that Shannon ever thought that I was going to play with her, I mean, she just kept eating the donuts. And the worst part out, kids, back then I started having, I started taking a little Zantac, for acid in your stomach. And you look it up, kids, that there's something in there that will give a false positive. 100% truth. Swear. I got to get the Bible again. There's something in there that it gives a false positive and I was taking quite a bit. And I ended up having a surgery for it. So I was taking more than the FDA allowance because it was the only thing that would help. I've been taking Nexium and that stopped working. For about 7 years, I took that. And then all of a sudden, one day, it stopped working. Okay. And then I had to. So I was taking that, or no, wait. I can't remember, but it wasn't working, and I was taking some Zyrtec with it, and I was trying to get it. I was trying to get a surgery, which is ultimately what I did. Because all the medication, you want to talk about powerlessness, kids, and you wonder why I'm so serious about life right now while I'm old. Only thing left is having a family, if possible, or this Bible, because there's no happiness in what I did. Yeah, it was sort of fun at the time, but I did it enough to realize it never led to any happiness and always ended up in trouble. And so I was taking it's neither here. If I sat down and wrote down paper, I could figure it out if I was looking at my criminal report. It doesn't matter. But I know I was taking some Zyrtec, and I was taking probably more than one every 24 hours. So I had more in that sense. I had more in my system, but it's got some ingredient. I'd have to look it up. It gives a false positive for amphetamine. Okay. Never mind. Okay, she's out there all the time. I go out there to get the mail. I'm allowed to do that. I see her parked out there, like, I see her all the time. I can't believe how many times that woman sat outside my house thinking that, because you can only leave for work at certain times. It's some pilot program. You literally have to. This is what I did for Washington County. Okay, yeah, you got in trouble, buddy. Fine, but the 2 years it was a pilot. It should have been like a year for the DUI and stuff. Really. So for like 2 years, I had to call this. I don't know if it was one or two. It was a long time. I'm pretty sure it was two. I had to call this phone line every day, and if they put your color, I had to go up. Thank God they had the satellite officer in Forest Lake, and there was only a 2 hour window in the morning, and y'all, of course, you're always going because all the guys are busy. All them guys over there starting fights with that guy must know somewhere from somewhere else. Why he must know somebody that knows somebody that don't like me. I'm not from here, right? My mom moved up here 20 years ago on Third Lake, and I'm down in New Hope with Bad Boy 612, right? We're thinking about going into business making Domino's pizza. I'm gonna plant a garden and get so many tomatoes. I'm gonna make all the tomato sauce and stuff like that. But I'm like, they're gonna start burning these buildings down. So I'm like, I'm gonna go up there before I get too old. And it's the market was down, remember? And so it was a buyer's market. There was foreclosures and just, I mean, a flood. And then they were. That's why we had that problem, because anybody, if you had a heartbeat, you could get a loan. They weren't checking nothing because they wanted to get these to saturate all these houses sold. So they were giving anybody a loan and a bunch of loans. So that's why we had the collapse. Now it's, or whatever it was, right? Remember that? Yeah, you remember. And so you're like, well, uh, uh you're like, oh, I'm tired now, ready to go to bed. So that's when you move up here. You want to be close to mom. She's getting closer to retirement. And, and you figure, well, if we can get a deal, why not? And so we look for a while. I look all over New Hope, all kind of places, and finally Tom gets to this one. And I thought, well, there was a couple other ones in town, but they were pretty, for around, uh, you know, 100,000 or something. We were gonna put 30,000 down, was what we did, and um, you're kind of excited. And you're thinking, just like now, the economy's going to come back and you're going to have some equity. You just get this floor. And so you go through the three. I think we put carpet in a couple times, and then my mom said, we'll put linoleum. Because the board, the Roxy, who was the lady, not Cheryl or Cherry or whatever her name, over there by that place. Oh, by the way, I used to get, who manages this place. So, the management company, Cedar Management, they're in the building right next to University Billiards, where I probably spent hundreds of hours with Jeremy Bennell and everybody else becoming a 9-ball champion. No, I was always pretty good, but I never could really. There's a lot of people that played pool and they're pretty good. I was okay. And uh, the building next door, the one that used to have what was it? Well, anyways, I used to get allergy shots. So if you ever question, hey, he's pork, shellfish, mushrooms, peaches, yeah, all that, allergic. I used to get allergy shots in that building. Yeah. From the time I was every day or every week I'd go over there. Yeah. So at first, what's her name? Roxy. She was pretty nice. She tried. She at first she's like, this is a. She's like, I don't know if you know, but oh, that's right, you weren't at the closing. I don't know if you know, but there's this here is on clay, and I'm not. It's like water. She called them water or something. Water tables they call them. The clay. And so she's like, this, you're not the only one. And and most people have had to put in drain tile, and I'm like, oh well, what's that, right? Or a sub pump or something, and I'm like, drain tile sounds okay, but I don't want to have some machine pumping water in my bed. It doesn't sound fun. And she says, well, I can. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call in them nice guys from up in Lindstrom, where Chisago, where I used to remember them guys. They were cool. They're really nice. They came. They used to do a bunch of work around here before. What's his name? Uh, what's his name? The guy that wears the suspenders. He was with Rick. Uh, I seen him still. I actually sort of got along with him, but he's just doing his job. I understand. Um, and so I talked to Roxy. They come out and they do a big job where they drill holes. It was like a whole. It was took them a couple weeks, probably a week, because they drilled all them holes, new holes, and basically they drained all the water. Is what they did, and they put them things in the back so it would look. And it's still horrible because if we get a big rain, there's like a pond out there. And like if you hit your golf ball there, you're not you're it don't look horrible, but they put all these rocks to make it kind of blend in with the water, and there's still a major problem. But she said, well, that all the water gets out, and then supposedly they put these tubes, and this is probably after two carpets. The first carpet you're like, huh, and then I think we're like second carpet or something. You think, well, that was I don't know, maybe after the first one they did the thing, and then she said, well, let's probably fix it. So we put another carpet in. Same thing. Kept coming out to the middle of the ruined the second carpet. And I'm like, so I call Roxy back, and she's like, well, because they had the drains, so the water supposedly wasn't supposed to gather. It was going to go in these tubes and out the back now, instead of just coming off the gutters and going into the road and then back into the ground and back underneath here. And I'm thinking, okay, and so, but now, and I call her and she's all right. Well, we can now. The next step is to seal the thing, and I'm trusting that, like, what you're talking about. Remember, like, if you're a lawyer, remember, you went to law school. You know if it's butter knives and bow and arrows, buddy, for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you shouldn't be a lawyer and you shouldn't be getting $10,000 from me and being another person that's really going to upset me, and I don't know why. And so, pretty much all my problems really bad started up here. And so, you like naked ladies still, right? Yeah. Did any of them ever have salad? Sometimes. Um, never did get one to ask me to pull her hair after that one though. Which I'm glad, because I'd be uncomfortable if a gal asked me to do that. I don't want to do that, so not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? Not into that kinky stuff. So, but I says, well, Boxy, can we do? And she says, well, yeah. I mean, what we do is we pull up the in between the concrete, and I take green treated 2x4 and I seal that off. I'm thinking, you've been doing this a while, right, Roxy? Mm-hmm. So you'd probably think if I find out later, if you need drain tile in there, which basically what that means, it's basically, like them big heavy duty garbage bags you get. You cut those open and you like tack that to the wall pretty much and make sure it go down about 6 feet so it's not going in your house. Pretty much is basically what drain tile is. I'm thinking tile. I'm thinking, I have no idea what that means. But obviously, I see later that they're doing that. They did a whole operation on Polar Bear's house and everybody else's house. So you getting the idea here? Yeah. Why? I don't know. And so you're starting to get a little upset because you're thinking, yeah, we ain't got no equity. And you're thinking, are you going to finish telling that story about, yeah, but I got into this because it involves Anthony Edward Ho from Ho, except I think it's McDonough, Wagner, and Ho, except what? They're not, he's Ho legal. Yeah. But I think one of the guys, Wagner, something might have retired. Yeah. Yeah. And again, if you can't understand why I would be upset with why I nicknamed him Butcher Bob, yeah. If you can't, don't even call me. Don't text me. Don't. If you can't reasonably be honest and say, "Hey, that's a bummer, dude. Like here, that's frustrating." We got nothing to talk about. Same. It's going to be the same thing here with Mr. Who. Okay. And I'm at the point where he won't. I don't want my own attorney to tell me that I'm bothering him, paying him money. So Roxy calls, right? And I say, well, she says, and I'm thinking, now remember, I know I'm not that bright. And I'm thinking, you know what I'm thinking, right? Well, that's just going to cause the water to pool up there. Right. Yeah, it's exactly what's going to happen. And so you're going to be able to go fishing in there for about the next couple of years, probably. Yep. But you're a nice guy and you're not a felon because you went through, remember? Uh, yeah, I'll get back to the floor. And so you go through 2 years, right? Every day you call up and it's bad. Like, they are, I mean, I've been on probation in lots of places. These people up here, I mean, if you even look at them funny, they will put you in handcuffs. Yeah. I mean, they are different and they take nothing and they're not afraid. Like, if they feel like you're being snotty or anything, you're going to jail and they'll figure it out later. And it don't matter. If you had a dirty you or if you got an attitude, they're going to arrest you. And I don't know why, but they're that way and you figure that out real quick. And so when you go in there, yeah, you're polite and you're respectful. And they know exactly what I'm talking about. Coffee. And I'm already, not only that, but this, if they do, and I'm already had it transferred. So imagine pissing them off, and then they send it back down there. I mean, I'm done. It's bow and arrows and butter knives, buddy, for the rest of your life. Have fun. Good luck with that dress and them sticks, because you ain't going up there. Nah. And you say, well, you think if you went through all that, no, it's unjust. The way they treat you, it's not proportional. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but it's the truth. And you say, well, I mean, how would you know? I just moved up here to be close to mom. You're in the system. Well, to a certain extent, but I'm telling you, there's something unique. Hennepin County, Ramsey County. I mean, they don't act like that. These people. I mean, they act like they want to put you in jail, and they're looking for anything. And it's the truth, and anybody that knows what I'm talking about that's dealt with them. So you learn that real fast, and you're dealing with a felony, and your probation is transferred. Trust me. I mean, I wouldn't talk. I was on my best behavior. Oh yeah, I ain't messing around because I don't want butter knives and bone. I want that chance to get up there where that fishing is good, maybe a snowmobile and do a little counting. And you already know, get half the kingdom. And so I'm thinking, like, then I told you I didn't get near anything like that since then. I didn't even really want it. I just took it and it just was a bad, one of those things. You get in trouble with that beer. And so if you ever wonder why I say, hey, don't bring that around me. Because I had enough with them cops. I have enough with these here probations. I'm done playing with them. They got my attention. Everybody got my attention. I'm done with that. I've been done with it, but I mean, there's just no. I don't even want to be around anybody that does that stuff. Remember that? I don't even want unless half the kingdom drag me in a restaurant that's got a bar. I don't want to even go near any bar or restaurant people drinking. I just don't. I did that, but I don't want to. It's unnecessary. It don't need to do that. There's plenty of places to eat that don't do that. If you want to do that, I'm not your guy. Okay. And you're saying, well, you ain't got much money anyways. We didn't really want you. Well, fine, but I ain't doing that stuff. So don't even think about it. All right. Not to be cocky, but I'm not risking the rest of my life. I've been through enough of this with these people for sure in this county and all these lies and punks like that in my neighborhood. And it just continues. I've had enough. Okay. And if people can't understand why I might start saying, look, I know you're a big old giant polar bear, but please leave me alone. And I'm trying to move and figure out where to go. And I don't want to bother you or nobody. And I don't want to see that punk over there either. And I'm waiting for my daddy to call me. Let's see if I can I don't know how. If I can't make it here anymore, because it seems like when you head that way, they get more, I guess. So it gets tougher. Is that right? And if you got this sheriff over here, who knows what's going on in this world? And you wonder why I don't want to have a beer? No, you don't. Because the only chance you got is to not have any chemicals in you like that. Now, if you want some coffee, you want a little stimulant there, then you're gonna just do that, and you're gonna go to sleep every night. And you're gonna study your accounting. Fine, that's cool. But so, go to work or whatever you're gonna do, okay? But this is my story. It's the truth. And if you can't understand reasonably why I'm a little irritated, then you're either part of the problem or I don't want to talk to you. Just don't care because I ain't taking no chance. They're already trying to get me, and I ain't gonna give them any more reason to make it any easier. So I already know. I'm thinking, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that without at least doing this? So I think it was more. I don't. I'd have to really sit down and think of the order of operation Bottom line is, finally she came out and they redid first it was just this, and then they redid it and they angled it. And then they had me convinced when they angled it and sealed it off or something. I think so we went 2 carpets. Now I'm like, okay, well, my mom's like, well, maybe you should put in some linoleum because the carpet, you really want to be called butter moldy, or maybe we can just peel that up a little ways and stick some more down. It's cheap. Yeah, but they got this thing called glue. And then when you put that there, you can't do anything else with it, and it's still all over there, and it's a lot of work, and I'm sick of it. I'm done. Okay? I don't have the energy to do it anymore. In your life. Understand? And so you say, well, this is 3 hours. I am going to make a new video. I'll be right back.